Okay, we are live.
We're live. Let me turn
We are
my.
live.
All right, give me 1 second. Awesome. I'm Charles Epting from HR Harmer in New York City,
And I'm Michael Cortese of Noble Spirit in Pittsfield, New Hampshire.
and this is Conversations with Philatelists. Michael, we're doing another Monday live stream episode. This is kind of
Yeah,
becoming a habit. We're going to go
it
back and
is.
recording them this week, but we
Hmm.
had arranged our interview for 9 o'clock this morning, anyways.
Yeah,
So we figured may as well do it live. So this morning we're talking to Jack Preuveneers.
yeah,
Why don't you tell us a little bit about Jack, and then we'll have him
yeah.
on.
Philatelist from the UK. But we're interviewing him, so there's not too much that we know
Yeah,
yet. He'll
we
fill us in.
shouldn't.
But
Yeah, we shouldn't give
yeah,
away.
young philatelist from UK. We've connected online a couple times. I've seen him kind of at events that I was supposed to be at or got invited to. But yeah, I'm interested to talk to him because it seems very entrenched in the kind of young philatelic scene over there across the pond, and just as we are here in the United States. So I thought it would be a kind of an interesting interview because we got to talk to a lot of other young philatelists in the UK, George James, Victoria, people like that, and yeah, again to get they're in the professional side of the hobby, get to see what it's like on the more collector side.
Let's bring him on.
All right, that sounds great. So here is Jack.
Hey, Jack.
Hello, how's it going?
Good
Hi,
having
good.
you
How
up.
are you?
Not too bad.
Thanks for thanks for joining us this morning here, this afternoon for you. Um, yeah, to jump right into things, do you mind talking to us a little bit about your start in the hobby, kind of what brought you
Yeah,
in
yeah,
to
sure.
philately?
So, my first like endeavors into philately were it was when I was starting university, and I was going into the industry of naval architecture. So that's design of yachts and cruises and things. And I kind of saw some stamps with boats on them, which linked to my course, and I was just like, these look really cool, you know. So I bought some with boats on them. They happened to be Swedish, and I thought, well, if I've got some with boats on, I'll get some other ones from Sweden. So I just carried on growing, and I started out and then collecting booklets. So I bought nearly every Swedish booklet with stamps that you could get, and then I was like, okay, well, I've got the booklets. Why not first day covers? Went out, completed the first day covers. I was like, okay, well, seems a bit mundane now. I've got all the booklets, I've got all the first day covers. Let's try and just get every stamp from Sweden. So here we are
A little bit
now, and
tougher challenge there.
I'm pretty far through. I'm nearly 99% at the moment,
Oh wow.
because Sweden's quite accessible, along with the rest of Scandinavia. It's obviously got its gems and highlights, which are out of the reach for most people for a while, but we're getting there slowly.
So at what age was that? You said your lessons
Was
was that at uni or?
just started before university, so that would be 2016, 2017, I think. So
Mhm.
4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
And I'm 23 now, so I was quite late to it or early. I don't know how you put it, because I started off my own back, so none of my family or relatives collect stamps.
It's refreshing to hear this because yeah,
Yeah,
we're used to hearing people who started collecting at age 5 because their father and grandfather
yeah,
collected. I was the same as you. I sort of fell into it while at university. You know, at 19, 20 years old is when I really got bitten by the bug. So
yeah,
yeah, it's funny that 18 in this hobby is a late comer.
Yeah.
Um,
yeah,
but it shows that you don't have to have been raised with it. You don't even need that initial
yeah,
exposure really. You can still come around to it as an adult essentially and really get bitten by the bug.
yeah, for
So
sure.
Sweden
Sweden,
now.
yes.
Do you have any other collections?
It's mainly Sweden is my specialty, but then I also collect Scandinavia in general.
Mhm.
So I've got quite a good collection of Iceland, Faroe Islands, and most of those. I'm missing Denmark and Norway, but Finland, Iceland, Sweden. Those are the collections that I have at the moment. But Sweden is what I put all my time and energy into. So specializing and going into shades and plating and all of that.
Mm-hmm. As a teenager, and then in your early 20s, getting involved in the hobby, how have you found the British philatelic social scene? How receptive has it been? How easy is it to
find been other welcoming? I went to my first actual meeting in second year of university, so maybe three or 4 years ago, and they were like really welcoming to have like a new youngster getting involved. I must have brought the average age of the the society down by 20 years or so, but they helped me join RPSL, who have been really supportive of me. I'm giving a talk with them in a few months' time on my collection, because they're liking to see new younger collectors get involved.
So,
no, Michael, go ahead.
Okay, Charles and I have kind of had this conversation. It seems like a lot of the younger philatelists over on that side become professionals quite quickly. We've talked to a lot of the people at Stanley Gibbons, at Spink UK. So how has that, was there any interest in you at an early age becoming a professional philatelist, or just merely looking at it from the collector's side?
I think there's everyone who collects, I would say, has like an inherent interest in dealing and making sure that their collection has like retains its value or goes up in value at least. Mm-hmm. As for career, I'm not sure. I've just started a new job. I actually started tomorrow. So for the time being, I'm sticking with my naval roots for industry. But who knows in the future whether I'll get into dealing or expertizing, or who knows.
How has the response from the Swedish community been, having a Brit coming in and starting a collection? Because there's a great, you've got Jonas, you've got, Count Gustav. There's great Swedish philatelists, and with the show a couple of years ago as well in Stockholm. What has their, have they been welcoming to have a foreigner coming in?
For sure. Jonas, for example, sends me copies of his new books when he writes them. So that's always great to get hands on, because Swedish philately is really well documented, but it's really well documented in Swedish. So it's great to be able to get copies of the newest books in the English language. But the Scandinavian Collector Society in the UK, they've been welcoming as well. And I think I was one of their first youth members, so they've given me they created a special youth discount rate for their for their membership just for me. So it's everyone's been welcoming in the UK and Sweden.
So how was it getting started? Because in America, Charles and I got our start kind of with an organization called the Young Philatelic Leaders Fellowship. Was mm-hmm. there any kind of aid, or did you kind of just go at it your own? Did you have any kind of mentor, or did you have to find these?
I just went at it by myself for the first couple of years, and then I saw the RPSL published a youth program similar to the PLF, I think it is, and then that was with Patrick Muselius. I butchered his name. Yeah. But he did a joint program, I think, with your guys at the APS, and they did a trip to London, where I met quite a lot of young philatelists, and mm-hmm. that was great. And then he sent us off to Monaco Field the year after. So that's the main involvement I've had with mentors. I started exhibiting only 2 years after I started collecting in 2018. And then that caught the attention of people at Stamp Active. So Stamp Active is the youth sort of association in the UK for collecting, and they quite liked that there was someone exhibiting in like a more serious manner, so to speak, like mm-hmm. because they had a lot of kids who were doing it for, say, butterflies or trains, but my exhibit was traditional philately straight away, and they quite like that, so they've given me help and support in writing my exhibit and building that, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to show it off at London 2022, which will be
fantastic.
good.
What year were you in Monaco?
2019, I think.
2019.
That was the time after you went, Michael.
Yeah. Did you go to 2019?
I did, but I was tied down to the Global Philatelic Network booth most of the time. So,
Nord Stamps wants to know, when did the youth program start? And they didn't have a program when he lived in the UK. Unfortunately, at his age.
Patrick only did it in 2018, I think. That was the first year.
Okay.
And then that was when he also sent us the Monaco next year. I don't know if they did it before that, but as far as I'm aware, it was just 2018. So it was a pretty new thing.
Yeah.
You got your start by collecting ships on stamps because of its tie-in with your career path. And I was actually just writing up a little thing about a collection this morning. It was an infectious disease doctor who collected fumigated and disinfected mail. Do you see yourself ever, obviously Sweden's your focus, but do you see yourself ever collecting topically, going further with the, just as a way to sort of tie it to your day-to-day?
I'm not sure. I think so. I think there's definitely an inherent interest in my career and the stamps I collect. So right now I'm moving into the submarine industry, and I know that there's quite a few stamps with submarines on, and they're always pretty cool to see. So possibly, but right now my interest is still in Sweden, and will be for a while.
So for people who can or even can't attend London 2022, can you sort of walk through your exhibit, where it's at right now? What it covers, what it encompasses, what some of the highlights are?
So my exhibit is Classic Sweden from 1855 to 1911. So it's an 80-page exhibit, 5 frames, and I just walk through every issue in as much detail as I can go through. So my main interest at the moment is shading stamps, and Sweden. What's great about it is the main organization in Sweden have released shaded sheets. So it's basically, you get a page and it has a photocopy of every single shade. And in Sweden, it's ridiculous. You can get one issue and it will have 22 different shades. So you can see the complexity and difficulty of differentiating between 22 different shades of blue. But my exhibit has gone through that, and I've managed to get, I think, about 75% of all the shades between 1855 and 1911. Wow. So that's what it mainly shows. But I do have some quite good items. So I've got the earliest recorded registered mail to Brazil in there. I've got quite early mail to Japan and China, and those are I quite like Swedish postal history as well. So I'm trying to sneak in a few items which are of interest into the traditional exhibit.
With tracking down the shades, what is more difficult? Is it I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. Is it the price that's prohibitive, or is it actually finding these things and identifying these things? There's
a bit of both. It's not many people shade them. They'll just sell it as, Scott 22, for example, whereas there could be Scott 22 A to G, but people on eBay or Hipstamp or Delcamp, they don't shade them. So you can't exactly just buy the one you want online straight away. You've either got to buy a job lot of 15 of the same ones, and hopefully one in there will match it, or you find one that's pre-shaded in an auction at like a 200% markup. It's but some of the shades are quite rare. So Sweden, they documented, the Postal Authority at the time documented all the printings, the colors they used, how many were printed, and the dates that they used them quite extensively back then. So there can be some issues where you can see that they only printed 1,000 in one shade, but then the next shade it will be 350,000. So there's quite a disparity between them, and the ones where it's obviously much rarer command a much higher price.
So with them not shading them on online philatelic marketplaces, do you find any sort of deals there, rare shades that have kind of been unlisted?
Sometimes you can see it and I can be like, that's an ultramarine blue, that's much rarer than just a standard navy, for example. I find there's a Swedish marketplace called Tradera, which is it's owned by eBay, but it's completely Swedish language. And I find that the philately section on there is 10 times better than that of eBay or any other English language, because it's obviously accessible to Swedish collectors. It's a pain in the backside to create an account because it's fully in Swedish and you have to have like a Swedish social security number, but I don't have that, so it was a bit of a faff trying to make an account, but they helped out and I've got one.
How is the activity on there? I mean, I wouldn't imagine that it was, because being Sweden based entirely, what's the activity like? How many users would you?
Oh, there's tons. And what's interesting about it, it's similar to CwP, is that you can almost see who's bidding on the items, but rather than it being anonymous, you can actually see the users who are bidding, and then you can see what items they've purchased in the history. So it can get quite competitive if you see someone you
it can probably get very personal, I would imagine.
Yeah. But it's almost like you can be like you can see someone bidding on an item, you can see their past purchases being like in the hundreds to thousands, and you're like, okay, well, maybe they've got bigger pockets than myself to compete them. I'll let them have this one and I'll take the next item. But a lot of items get listed and a lot of high quality stamps get listed too. So it's a good site for sure.
That's interesting. I wouldn't have imagined a specific site for. Is it all Sweden stamps, or is it just Sweden?
It's like eBay but Swedish language, so you can sell anything on it.
Okay.
But the philately section is brilliant. And they've categorized it completely. So they've split it up per issues, dates, sections for booklets, first aid covers, stamps on covers. Like it's
wow,
really detailed.
It's highly specialized. And you need to have a Sweden social security number to even register to buy?
I think these days they might have changed it, but I know back when I started, they couldn't. And it's there's some awkwardness in it. So the seller can list the item for sale only in Sweden, within the EU or worldwide. And most of the time they list it in the EU, and obviously the UK have now left that. So often at times I'm just like desperately messaging the seller like, hi, can you please change this to worldwide so that I can bid? But often you do miss out on items because they are just Sweden only, and some of the sellers just won't budge. They're like, nope, Sweden only.
Somebody here in the comments asks if you ever regret starting collecting Sweden, and if you ever wish that you'd begun collecting another country with more variety and pictorials, something such as New Zealand. So any regrets on Sweden, or are you pretty
I'm quite happy with Sweden. I think compared to New Zealand, Sweden's definitely much better. I'd say that there's much more depth and breadth of speciality. There's so much detail in shading and plating and everything. It's I'm kind of impressed at the postal historians and philatelists back in the day who have gone through all the plates, found every tiny minute detail, and have documented that.
And as far as expertizing material for Sweden, is there a specific place that you send material to yourself?
So
or does it kind of vary on the issue?
So for more common things, I just send them to RPSL. They deal with Sweden quite well. But for specialty items, there's an expert in Sweden called Helena Ubermüller Willen. You might see her certificates, HOW, and they're like really specialized, in-depth, detailed certificates that everyone who collects Sweden or Scandinavia will like know and trust as being the real deal. She's been in the game for 30 years plus, I think.
Wow.
Her certificates are top tier.
Removing the Treskelling yellow, if there was one item of Sweden that you had to have for your collection, I don't want to go for the obvious, the big one, but is there something you're looking for, something that you that you think would fit right at home in your collection?
I really like the old postal proofs. There's quite a few of them about. You often see them in auction in Stockholm, but they go for silly amounts of money, but they always are so nice and detailed. We've got in Scandinavian Sweden, we have like there's hand drawn ones. There's like 10 different iterations of stamps that you can go through. It just improves different overprints, test overprints. They're all great, which I'm all missing in my collection, but soon, one day.
You've got and you've got a real head start on most of the other collectors, I would say. You're you're 75% of the way there with the shades and 99% of the way there with the stamps.
Well, that's the shades used. I eventually want to get every shade mint, but that's going to be a huge pain.
But you're a lot further along at 23 than most people are, I'd imagine.
Yeah. For some issues, I've got all the shades mint, which I'm quite happy with, which is like 9 issues, 9 stamps, like different shades. So hopefully I can get them all.
Volume-wise, how much space does that take up? Is that a couple albums, or are you talking a whole bookshelf? I mean,
I think at home I've got 30 albums or so encompassing my whole collection.
Yeah.
Just the shades is just one album, but that's just my exhibit collection.
Mm-hmm.
I've got maybe 3 albums of postal history, maybe 4 albums, just Lighthouse albums of every stamp. So from the beginning to 2016, I think I'm up to, and then other albums for Iceland and Denmark and all of those countries.
Mm-hmm.
And then just lots of stock books, just with thousands of the same stamp. So
how did your family and friends react when you started collecting stamps? This is something I find interesting because when I told people when I was in college that I started collecting stamps, I think they were a bit incredulous. And then I told them, hey, I'm going to Monaco in a couple of months. And all of a sudden it became a lot cooler. So what is the response been like from
my parents were always like supportive. My dad is a collector himself of militaria, so he has a very specialized World War I collection, which I think in 2016 he had an exhibit for. So like a whole almost like museum, like almost had a section just for his collection. So he's been pretty supportive of it. My friends at first just like gimmick, like take it to his eyes and give me, stamp collecting, haha. But then, I've gone to Monaco, had a good trip to London. Last year, I was invited to meet the Queen for my collection. So, that was quite a good one. And once when I was on like the royal family Instagram, then people were like, okay, like that's pretty cool.
that's what it took to legitimize stamp collecting to people, was being on the royal.
It's
pretty high bar.
they're like, okay, I can respect this hustle now.
Yeah. I think I've seen that photo.
Yeah, it takes those sorts of things though to prove that it's not just a frivolous hobby. I feel again, when you tell people you're going to Monte Carlo, that legitimizes things.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So we've actually never met in person, but we connected through your Discord channel. Yeah. So do you mind talking a little bit about, because even at 31, I don't know what
I don't know what
really understand it. I use it to talk to our programmer.
It's mainly for the kids. It started out as a social network for gamers mainly. It's got quite a gamer aesthetic. It's all dark mode. Like the chat goes incredibly quickly, and it's quite difficult if you're just flicking in and out every so often to catch up with what's going on, because it moves at such an incredible pace. But it's quite a good medium as opposed to a forum for asking quick questions, having a quick conversation about your stamps, just showing off something that you've bought. It's categorized quite neatly so that there's different chat rooms for Europe or Asia, Africa, different chat rooms for asking about help for your stamps or postal history. There's just general chats where you can just talk about anything you want. It's quite a good medium for connecting with other collectors. We have a sales channel, trades, and there's quite a lot of sending material back and forth between the collectors that have connected within this medium.
Mm-hmm. It seems incredibly active all the time. I check into it occasionally, and it says, hit the down button. There's 1,000 messages to read.
It's always on the go.
How many people are in that, and what would you say that the age Rachel?
Yeah, I was going to say, how would you sort of demographically, how would you characterize the people who are taking part?
So I can quickly check in the settings. I think we have nearly 400 members. Yeah, we have 384 members, which we got quite a big boost from Graham from Exploring Stamps. He gave us a shout out, and that gained quite a lot of attention. But it started out as a lot of younger collectors, so maybe 14 to 25, I'd say. But now that
makes Michael feel so old when we
now that I say Graham has like legitimized it in a sense, there's been a lot of more older collectors who watch Graham's videos and have joined just to like give it a heads up. So there are quite a few people who are 50, 60 plus in there as well who do engage in conversation and do help out the younger folk with questions or details or specialities of theirs.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean,
I'm actually downloading Discord right now because I want to check this out after we hang out. I want to feel cool again.
Yeah, you get a little role that says you're a Philatelic influencer as well when you join.
Yeah, it's always so. I found it so interesting because people are always saying, "How do we get kids involved? How do we get younger people involved?" And then it's just scrolling through all these messages of these young philatelists actually talking about stamps, showing photos of their collections, asking about expertizing, asking about identification for individual things, and people helping out. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of very knowledgeable people on there, yourself included, in their respective roles. So I mean, it's definitely something that I feel like we didn't have growing up. We didn't have starting out that might help keep people, if they come to it, in the hobby, keep them
that's the aim. It's there wasn't necessarily a place where you could go. It's quite daunting and intimidating joining a stamp society. You know, I went to my first meeting in the second year of university, they asked like, are you in the wrong place? Like I'm like, no, I'm here for the meeting. Like but so yeah, it's quite good to have a place where it's a lot more open and a lot more accessible for youngsters just to pop in and, you know, share their pictures of dogs on stamps or butterflies or something. It's you know, rather than being fully specialized straight away.
Yeah. Do you have any sort of data on where everybody is, the country wise?
Not really. It's you don't necessarily like,
you don't get to see that.
No, but I'd say most are from America. There's quite a large demographic from India as well who have joined. Okay. Bar that, there's just scattered around Netherlands, UK. I think a couple from Cuba even. It's quite a mix, but mainly America at the moment.
That's interesting, yeah, because the YPLF is always looking for new members and to kind of bring them into the hobby, and it feels like this is starting people out, getting them interested, or once they're interested, they get there, they learn more, and then
there's quite a few people that are asked like, I'm going to go to my first stamp show next week. You know, how does it work? You know, and that's happened quite a lot in the server. Yeah,
I feel like it's really breaking that kind of that barrier to entry or the apprehension of going to the first show. I remember my apprehension going to my first just dealer bourse. It wasn't even a real show. I don't mean, you know, it wasn't even a massive show. It was just a dealer bourse, and the apprehension, whereas if I knew what was to be expected beforehand, I would have gone a lot sooner. I would have gone a lot to a lot more. So.
And I think a lot of people demonstrate that natural inclination to, like, there's a tendency to want to collect and accumulate and organize things. And again, you know, I feel like, you know, the problem isn't getting young people involved in stamps necessarily. It's keeping young people involved in stamps. And when you can provide a platform like a Discord server for people to connect, I think it, you know, whereas a lot of times maybe these interests would be fleeting or would be forgotten fairly quickly. Something like this, I think, is good for, you know, keeping them going a little bit more long term.
So when did you start that, and what was the idea behind it?
I started it, I think, in 2019, I believe, and there was like a smaller one for it that was already out there, but it wasn't as organized or active. So I thought,
Hmm.
you know what, I'm gonna give this a go properly. I'm gonna put a real effort into it, push it out to the channels that I know will see it, and try and get it active. And it's just in this old one, there was just no one was talking.
Mm.
The owner wasn't present, and I thought, well, I'm gonna try and reply to everyone that I can do feasibly, answer as many questions as I can, and just keep people engaged and keep them staying and talking.
Yeah.
And that seems to have worked.
To the point where it's its own ecosystem now. The
Yeah.
individual channels are just not just the general channel, but the individual channels. People talking about Europe, people talking about Asia are always so filled with people just discussing stamps. It's really exciting to see.
It's good. I'm happy with the progress that it's made, and I'm hoping that it's going to grow more. So hopefully next year it'd be on a 1,000 members, and then a
Yeah.
couple of years later 10,000.
Mm-hmm. Have there ever been any people kind of looking to, or within close proximity to themselves, meet up from this Discord
Yeah,
channel?
there's a few. There's a couple people talking the other day about meeting up at Napex, I believe, and I think that's going to happen. We're going to do a little meetup at Stampex this autumn,
Mm-hmm.
and then hopefully do another one at London 2022 as well for the more European collectors. That should be good.
Yeah,
Well, we will definitely both be, or Michael, I hope we'll definitely both be at London 2022. So it'd be fun
definitely.
fun to meet people from. Again, I'm gonna try and figure out Discord later today to see if I can get up to speed.
If you have any questions, just
in time for the London 2022 show, maybe I'll have some understanding. But sort of the last thing I wanted to ask you, and then I'll turn it back over to Michael. But what are your goals moving forward? You're exhibiting at London 2022. Mm-hmm. You've been to Monaco. You met the Queen. A lot of people would probably just say, like, I'm done. I've accomplished. Again, obviously, you're going to keep adding things to your collection and whatnot. But where do you see yourself in the hobby in 10 or 20 or 50 years? What are your goals moving forward?
I definitely want to put more of an effort into attending meetings and getting out there, being known in the society, so to speak, showing off like my collection, giving talks. I kind of like that aspect of it, being knowledgeable and, having like the camaraderie behind it, because I feel I've been lacking on that a bit. I've been, the pandemic struck. I didn't get to go to many meetings. I've moved to a new city now, so hopefully here I'll be able to join their local society and join that.
Yeah, that's definitely a very altruistic goal, joining more organized philately and kind of helping progress.
Yeah, a lot of people just want to keep it to themselves and want to be very insular. But we need more of those connections, more of the social aspect of it. I think is important.
Yeah, that's what I like about it. It's just like at Monaco, as it's a great chatty event. Like there's obviously I'd say the social aspect almost takes precedence to the stamps in that sense.
Almost.
It's like you've got the show on the side, and then you have all these great drinks and meals in the evening.
Sometimes I forget that there are stamps at Monaco.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I like. I think society should almost meet more as socially, with stamps like in the background as well. But most of the meetings at the moment ever are just stamps. But I think there should be a more social aspect too, in my opinion, at least.
No, I mean, absolutely, because it helps keep people involved, and it helps build people's collections. Without that outside help, there'd be no real growth for the hobby. I mean, we can't evolve ourselves just from reading books. Reading books is fantastic. It helps a lot, but there needs to be the people, like you said, sending you books and translating things, and the personal help, the personal touches are really kind of what's driving things forward in the hobby. So I completely agree. I didn't have any more.
No,
do you have anything you wanted to bring up that we had not covered yet?
I'm not sure. I think we've hit every point. I think it's just good to see how the community is growing at the moment, especially with YouTube and Instagram. I've seen more and more Instagram accounts popping up, more and more smaller YouTube channels. It's definitely the digital age is upon us, so to speak. You know, it's that's the way it's going, I'd say.
Yeah, and I think that people keep asking again. I bring that up again. People keep always saying, "But how do we get younger people involved?" And I feel like they're there. It's just giving them a way to connect with each other. And this Discord channel, the Instagram and YouTube, there's smaller channels, discussion boards on people's different comment section. I mean, it's exposing the fact that they're there and they want to learn. But I really feel like this Discord channel is a tremendous benefit to.
And Michael, I'm going to throw something out now that we haven't discussed. This is actually just an idea I just had, but we should use the Discord channel, use people watching these videos, anybody who's going to be at London 2022. We should, Jack, we hope you'll be there. Get together a social event. Let's do drinks on CwP. Let's put a little event together and, get George James there, get, Victoria, get Ian, get all the other young folks from the UK and anybody traveling. Let's really build on again what you started with this Discord server is fantastic, and anybody who happens to be at London 2022, let's convert that and translate that into a physical meetup as well.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. Thank you so much, Jack, for taking the time out to do this and for allowing us to live stream this.
That's okay. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you first part of next year in London.
Yeah, it should be good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. Cheers, guys. Bye.
Thanks. Bye. That was fantastic.
Really nice guy.
Absolutely. I love again we harp on it a lot, but this UK youth scene I really love. Not that there's not great young collectors in America as well. But
no, he said a lot that there were a lot in the
Michael, I feel old. I haven't I think the last video game I played was like Guitar Hero when that first came out. So I
that was
really
a good one.
It was great. It was great.
It was
and I played like Star Wars Battlefront, and then I realized that came out in like 2004. I don't. So for me, this idea of like a video game chat service, I'm dating myself. I'm 28 now. I was 26 when we started this thing. But I'm really excited to get involved and to again, let's try and translate some of that digital excitement and energy, whether it is people meeting up at NAPEX or London 2022. This is important to we're always talking about blending the virtual with the digital. Let's do our part to work with Jack and see what we can do.
Yeah. And what Patrick Masellis is doing for people like Jack and ourselves and other young philatelists is excellent, but I feel like we need to keep that momentum going.
I was going to say, so many people have supported us. Now it's our turn to stop being supported and start being the support, I feel.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm excited for that. So this was a great episode. Yeah. Friday, are we going to be doing a live stream?
Yeah. I'm actually around this time. I was out appraising collections last Friday.
But you're going to be driving down to New York this Friday.
I am. Can we do our live stream on Thursday?
What if we do our live stream later in the day, Friday, from my house?
Perfect.
We'll figure out a time day of probably. Yeah. But let's do an in-person live stream. That would be fun.
Yeah, that would be. I completely forgot that I'm hitting the road probably at like 9:00.
Let's do it from Dutchess County, New York.
All right, perfect.
Maybe even do it from the golf course.
I like that idea.
I like that idea very much.
Thank you so much to Jack.
Absolutely.
To everyone listening, we'll put a link to the Discord channel in the bottom. It's open. Discord is free. It's a great place where tons of people are talking, and I can't believe that 380 something users. That's more than some societies.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. That automatically makes it one of the bigger stamp societies. Send me that link as well so that I can join, and and people will be able to find us there.
Yeah. Perfect.
Awesome. Michael, as